Hello, my name is Kurt Pavia, and today I'm going to be presenting to you how I developed and implemented student blogging using my class. The first thing I'm going to do is show some presentation slides that show screenshots and some other information about how I did this project, and then I will pull up some live instances, and then after that we can have some Q&A time. So first of all, I worked with Susie Wright. She's an instructor for the TESOL program in Woodring. It's the Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, which is geared towards preparing teachers to teach English throughout the world. And she wanted to maintain some professionalism in her course. She wanted the students to do some self-reflection, because that is one of the criteria in the Cambridge English Teaching Framework, for them to reflect on their own experiences and to be able to reflect on their peers, and to take those reflections and other experiences into account and apply them to their own teaching. We also did some other research, and there's some good research out there about using blogs to enhance critical reflection, critical thinking in higher education. So she wanted to maintain professionalism, wanted to provide a creative space to and have students do some blogging, and be able to comment on each other's blogs and so on. So from there we decided to create a peer-reviewed blogging assignment, and some more specific objectives are listed here on the screen. But basically it focuses on self-reflection and observing and reflecting on your colleagues' experiences, trying to apply them to your own teaching experiences, your own learning experiences, identifying your own strengths and weaknesses, while maintaining a professional attitude towards teaching. So we went with a peer-reviewed blogging assignment, and we chose to use WordPress for that. So the reasons why we chose WordPress was pretty easy. It's freely available to faculty and students at Western, and it's supported by ATUS, the Western's Technology Department. There are many options there for creativity and privacy. So some students really didn't want their stuff out there right away, so they could make it a very private blog. Others could open it up to the public. The blog itself, they would be able to take with them after they graduate. There's a process for students to transfer their Western WordPress out into the general WordPress if they want to. It's a professional platform, viable for portfolios. It allows creativity or not. If you don't want to be creative, you can just apply a template and go. We also looked at some downsides, and downsides would be the student technology skills. So there is a wide spectrum of skills you could apply to blogging. It is fairly beginner level, a little advanced beginner, I like to say. But it would also require some extensive help and documentation from me and from Susie. So a little bit of history. We started off by asking students to create their own blogs by going to the Western site and creating the blog through Western, and then posting that blog site into Canvas. And then from there they could open each other's blogs and comment and review. We thought it would all work out perfectly well. But of course, on the first iteration, things don't always work out perfectly well. Students struggled with the technology. We found they were spending too much time having to deal with the technology rather than focusing on the content itself, on writing the posts. But mainly focused around the privacy settings, and there's settings about approving comments or having them moderated. So, show of hands, how many of you have ever created a blog? Yep. So have you ever had any problems with spammers or spam getting into your comments, or people not being able to see posts or see their comments, or comments not posting, getting these? Yeah, so what happens is if you have protection against spam, that means you're moderating your posts. And to moderate posts, you got to go back in and approve, click on them and approve them. So it can be kind of tedious, and when the students didn't know that they had to do this, the comments weren't showing up. Some of their privacy settings were set to private, so even though the link was there, we couldn't view their blogs, and the instructor was getting a lot of tech help questions. So we applied some research and some solutions, and I found MyClass. So MyClass is a plugin for WordPress, EduBlogs, and it is essentially a hub site where there's a class blog is made, and then all the student blogs are linked to it, and if they're accepted into the class blog, then they have the ability to view and comment on each other's blogs very easily without any moderation or interruptions. It's also all those student blogs do remain private to each other within the class, although the student does have the option to make their blog public. Comments can be automatically approved, and it's easy access on the class blog site. There's a link to all the blogs right there, so they don't have any trouble finding and getting into each other's blogs. Nice handy little tool. Basically, the student blogs are created before the quarter starts, so they don't even have to go through that process. That eliminates huge barriers and work. If they already have a blog that they want linked to the class, we can link that blog directly to the class. However, generally they kept their own private blogs separate and would have just a blog for their TESOL writing. The teacher could access all the student blog dashboards. There's an example to the right here where they could do some simple work with the student blogs by looking at the posts and the comments right through their blog. I provided clear, detailed instructions to the students and training to the instructor, and that we found that reduced the technology need for technology help drastically, and students could just dive right into their blogs on the first day of class. So to look at the assignment is in Canvas, and it was just a basic assignment where they had to submit the URL for their blog, essentially 200 to 500 words, your experiences with as a language learner and as a language teacher, and then she had a specific prompt for each blog post. They would submit a link to their blog in 1 week, and then the second week right after it was the peer review session, and then on the third week it would be a new blog post. So each blog post was a 2-week assignment. So in a 10-week quarter course, there were 5 blog posts and 5 peer reviews. They had to peer review 2 other students, and those were set up in Canvas as a peer review assignment and were automatically assigned, although the instructor had the option to go and switch reviewers of the peer reviewers if she needed to. On my end, I created a tech support page in Canvas. So I had created all the assets for any of the technology needs in the course. There's a screenshot of the page, but we'll look at it in real life here. I created PDFs, video tutorials, and supplied links to the Canvas help pages, and it was all in one resource in the Canvas course. All of the assignments had links to the course technical instructions, as well as the class blog page had a link to the course technical instructions. So what was the process for setting up a class blog? It was fairly simple. If you are familiar with WordPress, you can go into your dashboard and there's a My Class icon and you can start a class. So I would we'd create a blog site and then designate it as the TESOL 410 class for fall of 2018. Susie would supply the content to me. She supplied pictures, she supplied writing, and then I would handle all the layout and the theme and the menus, setting up the widgets, and then we would collaborate on how she wanted it to look, and I would help massage the blog site to look at the way she wanted to. It was a little bit above her technology skill level, and so I did the back end work in WordPress. And then after the class blog site was made, I would go in and make the student blogs. So basically through the dashboard here you can see student blogs, create student blogs. I could go in, she supplied a roster, I could go in with their username and create a blog for them, and it would email them with instructions saying, hey, a blog has been made for you, here's a link to it, and then Susie actually sent a separate email telling them, hey, we're making a blog for you, you're going to use it in the class, here's help documents, and we would send help documents before class so they had a chance to review them, and just send out as much of that information ahead of time as possible. So I'd create the class site first, and then all the student blogs, and all those student blogs are linked directly to the class site for easy navigation and commenting and viewing.